Yesterday, we told you that the Epstein videotape was out. And you could see that, they had put a, video on the door. And I'm okay, good. I accept that. Today, we find out that they edited the videotape and didn't tell anybody. They just found out because there was a timestamp jump of about a minute, just over a minute. Now, I don't think that somebody was waiting right off the camera, came in, and in a minute, opened the door, went in, killed him, rushed out, closed the door, locked it back up, and was out of the camera. Did it in a minute. Whew, I had that minute. I don't believe that. But why on God's green earth would you edit a videotape where you're trying to prove to everybody that it's all on the up and up? Why would you do that? Now, yesterday, I didn't call for anybody's firing, but I think Pam Bondi needs to be fired. Not because she's covering anything up. I frankly don't know if anyone is covering anything up. What I do know is this is the worst rollout of information I have ever seen in my life. You roll out an edited tape. All you had to do is say, by the way, there is one minute that is missing from the tape. It was a jump at the very last. You don't let people find that out by going and looking at the timestamp the whole time. What is wrong with you people? Honestly, what is wrong with you people? Now, I want to start with just a quick definition check here. There is a difference between a theory and a conclusion. A theory is something that we have when we're trying to fill in the blanks. We don't have all the facts. A conclusion is what we reach when the facts are sitting right in front of us. A conclusion requires some courage. Now, last night I was going through some of this stuff and I did a tweet thread on the evidence, just the evidence collected, okay? And you look at the evidence list, not the headlines, not the spin. Look at the list of stuff that was collected. And it just doesn't read like a man who was living a double life. You know what I mean? It reads like a logistics log for an enterprise. That's what it looks like, a system, something built to last, something built to be controlled, and most of all, something built to be protected. Now, let's take this slowly because I want to build a case here for you. If we are to hold on to even the faintest glimmer of hope of justice, then we need to be able to think and we need to be able to ask questions that demand answers, not comfort, actual answers. So let me start with a simple one. Does a single guy need dozens of hard drives, multiple servers, cloud backups, and hundreds of CDs and USB sticks, many of them, most of them, labeled, categorized, and stored with care? Who needs that? For their house. Now, it's not normal. It's not accidental. It's very, very deliberate. But what does it mean? Well, we'd have to know what's stored on them. Okay, well, let's look at how they're at least labeled, because we can't see what's stored on them. But let's look at how they were labeled. Nude girl pics, photo albums of girls with Epstein, folders marked with names. Then they had surveillance videos, audio tapes, handwritten notes, even trip logs and boat schedules. Now think, when you go out on the boat with somebody, why do you log who's on the boat with you at all times and keep a meticulous log? I mean, it's almost done with the German efficiency of the 1930s and 40s. Why do you, I mean, unless you intend on proving, track, or recall who was on the boat, who was on the plane, who was in the house at all times, and you need to know where they were and when they were there. I mean, does that sound like a guy who was acting just himself and was only I keep these logs because, I'm diddling with little girls, and I need to know who was in the house. Why? Why? So here's the next question. Photos of Epstein with girls. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but let's say I just have a whole bunch of pictures of me with cats. I don't label it myself. Photos of cats with Beck. Now, maybe somebody I work with would, but I don't. So labeling it that is a little weird. But more importantly, who took the photos? Is he Stretch Armstrong? Was he diddling with little girls and then his arm could stretch way out and take photos of the two of them having sex? Who took the photos? Who categorized? Who labeled the albums? Who maintained the backups? Who digitized the files? Who operated the surveillance systems? Because all of that is listed too. Servers, camera systems, remote video feeds. That doesn't happen by accident, and certainly one guy doesn't do it. It takes staff. It takes technicians. It takes somebody who knew something and did nothing. Here's another detail buried in the list. A foreign passport with Epstein's photograph, large stashes of cash, massage tables, sex toys, not one, multiple, different locations. Now, is this the profile of a disturbed individual? Yeah, it is. It is. But is it only that? Or does it sound more like a system? Something engineered to be efficient, repeatable, and survivable. A system of redundancy, with documentation, with contingency. Why the backups? If I have all of these things on all of these servers, why do I have to have backups of all of those servers? Why the surveillance? I mean, generally you don't surveil yourself. You surveil guests, associates, clients. Now, here's an uncomfortable thought. What if those devices hold proof of others involved? See, the only thing that is more disturbing than, what's in the evidence list and what is what really hasn't happened with the evidence list. It's been years. No one else is indicted. We're supposed to believe it's only those two. That's it. That's it. It doesn't seem to be like there's a lack of evidence here. It seems like there's a lack of will. Now, I want to ask you another question. If we found, let's say, a pastor in Omaha, Nebraska, or a tech worker in Ohio, or a factory foreman in rural Alabama, do you think all of this would be proceeding exactly the way it's being proceeded with Epstein? Or do you think we would know every name, every detail, every photo that didn't include a kid? We would be asking and answered the questions of who took the photos? Why did he have this surveillance? Wouldn't we know all of it? But with Epstein, we don't know anything. And we're told, maybe he was alone. That's the official line now, but is that logical? One man orchestrated decades of abuse, maintained detailed records, employed countless staff, trafficked in minors, flew dozens of people in and out of his island where he was personally just trafficking these children for himself, and no one knew, no one participated, no one enabled it. Okay. I want you to listen carefully, because there is a line in the sand. And to me, this is very personal, and I'll explain why. But there is a line in the sand, and it's right in front of us. Let me go there in 60 seconds. You know, everybody's got their own version of what preparation looks like. Some people stockpile supplies, others save money, make plans, take courses. But in Israel, preparation often looks a little bit different than all of that. It looks like a child knowing the fastest route to a bomb shelter. It looks like an elderly woman who sleeps in her shoes just in case she has to run. It looks like medics who can't respond to emergencies until they've put on a bulletproof vest. That's what life in Israel. Oh my gosh, I just thought of something. Oh my gosh, I forgot. Epstein was working for the Mossad, and that's why I don't have a problem with all of this, even though I have a huge problem with all of this and are saying it every day, because he's a Jew. I got this letter, I got this response on, I think it was on X yesterday, several of them. You know, the reason why you don't care about this is because he's a Jew, and you and your Jews. Me and my Jews walking down the avenue. Oh, my God. Anyway, let me make sure that you understand that things are different. And now is the time that chime in souls. Now is the time when you choose to stand with God's people or not. And that doesn't mean fighting their wars, and that doesn't mean excusing anything. And it certainly doesn't mean turning a blind eye. What it does mean is that you stand with you stand against anybody who's like you and those Jews. That's a problem. That's a problem. Okay? You can support Israel now just by helping them stay safe. 888-488-IFCJ. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. God. 888-488-IFCJ. 888-488-IFCJ, or go online to ifcj.org. ifcj.org. 10 seconds, station ID. Okay, I don't want to speculate anymore. The problem is speculation, but I have to ask questions, and I want to make it very clear. I don't care if he was a Mossad agent. I don't care if he was a CIA asset. I don't care if he was just a common man that just flew too close to the sun. I don't care if he killed himself or he was murdered or he spontaneously combusted. None of that is the point, at least not yet. What does matter is the truth. Not my truth, not your truth, not the curated, sanitized, spoon-fed to us by committees and cable news truth, the truth. There comes a time where there's a line in the sand, and you have to start saying, I don't care what the truth is, I just want it. When a society loses its grip on reality and the facts, when facts become optional and the narrative becomes the currency, trust dies. I don't know. I don't even think it's in the hospital. I think trust is on the way to the coroner now in America. Because this matters, because if there is no trust, there is no nation. There is no justice. There is no we the people. It's all over. It's just power and those just desperate enough to hold on to it. And those of us who will just accept whatever is spoon-fed to us one way or another. I want you to understand, everything that I'm saying today is really not about Epstein. He is just the symptom. This is really about us. Because if the government, if the media, if the intelligence services, if the institutions meant to serve and protect the people are capable of either getting something like this so wrong and then not apologize for it, not show us how they could be this wrong, or they're capable of concealing something of this scale, then silence isn't just complicity, it is corruption. And if we allow this to stand, we become part of it. I refuse to be Jake Tapper. I have been on this boat with you for a very long time, questioning this, thinking there's absolutely no way that this is what they now say it is. Well, then I demand to know all of the evidence, and I demand to see all of the evidence, because I've been complicit in a lie that this guy was somehow involved with all of these celebrities and powerful people. I've been complicit in that because you convinced me of it. Not you, but those in government, those now in power, convinced me of that it was true. And it logically made sense. And now you're telling me to stop all the logic and just trust you. I won't trust you, because you were part of the people that told me to trust you last time, because you knew. Now, I willingly went with you, but I'm not going to be Jake Tapper, who I'm just going to observe this, be part of it, and then when it's proven to be wrong, apparently, you just go, oh. And then you listen to the same people who convinced you of it the last time. How many times have we said, how can these people have lied to you? How can you keep going back to these people and say, okay, what else do you have for me? No. You lied to me. Or at least you made an honest mistake in your assessment. But I need to hear that from you. I mean, am I the only one who... I've said this over and over again. I would be so pissed if I were a journalist and I had all of these sources telling me, oh, no, Joe Biden's fine. No, but he doesn't look fine. No, ignore your eyes. Ignore what you think you know. I'm there. I see it all the time. I've always said, how can you possibly not be pissed at those people? Well, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. And I am not even assigning the fact that, or the idea that they lied. I think if it is true that nothing happened, then this is a cavalcade of errors in judgment. And I want to track it all down so we don't do it again. Every time you look away, every time you shrug off a lie too big or too dark to face, we teach ourselves to live with less truth, less justice, less moral clarity. And over the last 25 years, my whole life, I've been doing this now for 48 years. 48 years. Weapons of mass destruction. No, Nixon, I'm not a crook. There's nothing to see with the Iran-Contra. Monica Lewinsky, all of this stuff, the Russian disinformation, Biden's totally in command. I've had enough. We've played along long enough. And it's not because we're stupid, not because we're coward, but because somewhere along the line we stopped demanding the proof and we started accepting other people's words of comfort in place. We stitched together stories that made more sense than the headlines. We created heroes and villains, narratives to fill the void left by the media that stopped asking hard questions. Our side did it, their side did it, and soon we find ourselves not even looking for truth. No, I want proof.
This is Glenn Beck.
This is not a republic. This has become a religion. And that's got to stop. All right, let me tell you about Simply Safe. You ever notice that the guy in every movie that says, nothing ever happens around here, is the first one to get stabbed to death? Nothing ever happens. Do you think that's what happened to Epstein? He was like in prison. He was like, nothing ever happens here. Don't be that guy. Get to be the person who has Simply Safe. It's an award-winning security system that you can install yourself in under an hour if you want to. You can also have them install it for you if you want. It's totally up to you. But having helped set one up, I can tell you it's really super easy. Simply Safe gives you cameras, glass break sensors, 24/7 monitoring, panic buttons, a phone app that lets you check your house from wherever you are, even a smart detector that can tell the difference between a burglar and your cat running around the house at 3 a.m. No long-term contracts, no surprise fees, just a system that works. Right now, I want you to go to simplysafe.com. SimplySafe.com. Get 50% off a new system with professional monitoring plan. Your first month free. SimplySafe.com/Beck. No safe like Simply Safe.
You can help the flood victims in Texas. Go to mercury1.org. Right now, it's mercury1.org.
Okay, I want Pam Bondi fired. I want Pam Bondi fired.
It's escalated quickly.
Yeah, well, no, and here's why. Do you release a tape that is supposed to be the evidence? Do you release a tape and then let the public find out for themselves that there's an edit in the tape?
That's a inexcusable mistake. But I don't know that she did it, right? I guess.
And you know what?
Right.
It could have been just a digital jump in the tape. It's a minute lost. Okay, so let's just give them every benefit of the doubt and say it was just a digital jump in the tape. Okay. Do you not put an intern on it just to say watch the clock and make sure there's no jumps or edit in the tape? Because we know
everyone's going to watch.
300 million people are going to be watching it, and somebody's going to take the time to watch the clock. So watch the clock.
Right.
Is every minute accounted for? You didn't do that. You didn't do that.
I think you could pretty easily say that if you wanted to, right, and your goal was you wanted to edit out a minute, it would be very easy to edit in a minute of footage.
Correct.
That
Easy.
No one would notice. Just make the clock continuous,
Correct.
right? It would be clear. If you were trying to cover that, it would be easy to cover.
Yeah.
However,
is incompetence. This is incompetence.
Highlighting your point to incompetence. At the very least, if you have a jump,
you admit it.
You say at the beginning,
Yes.
there is an error at this point. We know this is there. The fact that you release it as proof without acknowledging that minute is, I just don't understand how you could make a mistake like that when your goal here is supposedly to put everyone's mind at ease. Right? I don't know. But there's more to it than that.
But hang on just a sec. Let me just go back before we leave just this one. Remember when I said yesterday, your wife finds receipts for you buying presents at Tiffany's that she never got, that, you were at a hotel that she's never been to, you were not coming home for dinner, you had long weekends and everything else. It doesn't mean you were cheating.
You could be a traveling jewelry investor.
Right. But she should demand the evidence because you don't want that hanging there on your relationship. It will just fester. Now you give her the evidence, but then she finds out that, it's the wrong receipt. It was a receipt, that you explained away, but what you used as proof was not the same receipt. You were like, no, see, honey, this is when we went to the hotel together. And she looks at it and she's like, oh, okay. And then she has it for a while, and she looks at it, and she's like, wait a minute, the date is different on this one. This is not the same receipt. That's a problem. That's a problem. And it doesn't mean that he was cheating on you. It just means, what the hell is going on? Are you this stupid?
And it certainly would make you have legitimate questions about the situation.
It just makes you question things more. Now, if it wasn't for the jump in the tape, and I'm not even going to call it an edit because I don't think it was an edit. I think it was a jump in the tape. Is if the jump in the tape wasn't incompetent enough for you, listen to this one. Jason is here with us. Hi, Jason.
Hi, Glenn. What a morning. Wow.
Mm-hmm. What a morning it is. Okay, so, Jason, what else have you found?
Okay, so the more and more we looked at this tape, I started looking. It was just weird because it looked like a janitor's closet. So door 46.
With a janitor's closet.
And you were like, shut up. This is not a janitor's closet. I don't know what this is. Well, I was like, I could tell you there's a woman that looks like a janitor that comes out of supposedly the person, there's this cell that they're saying is his cell, which they're not, by the way. This was like people on social media were saying this was the cell. is coming out with a
Correct.
trash can. So I looked around to see if there was any confirmation on what this cell was, and I found an OIG report from the Justice Department 2 years ago that shows the camera angle and the one camera that was actually working. So you can see the diagram, and I think we actually have it if you're watching this right now. There's a diagram that shows where this camera is. It shows where Epstein's cell is. And the big thing that stands out, Glenn, is this camera doesn't even have eyes on Epstein's cell at all. Like, not at all.
That's incredible.
4 different wings here. There is a service wing, and that's what we're looking at with that door 46. That's like a service entrance or staff entrance. Now, you can't see on the lower level Epstein cell at all. So this is what makes it look even crazier for that 1 minute that's missing. And I will say that, let me just say it this way. I've spent years and years and years looking at surveillance and security camera footage, as you know, in my previous job. I've never seen an over 1 minute jump right at a time that would be very, very, I don't know, just convenient. I've never seen that before in all my years looking at these things.
There's no reason. Why do you say that minute would be convenient? You're just saying that 1 minute being gone is convenient. You're not saying that particular minute is convenient. Is important.
In this entire time frame based off of this camera angle. So it's convenient, like, let's say 60 seconds would be great for someone walking across that lower level. 60 seconds would be perfect for if you wanted to like conceal the fact that someone walked across that area. That's why it would be convenient.
Here's why I didn't buy into this at first. Okay, 60 seconds to get in and open the door and then kill him and then leave. Okay, but look at the diagram. If you look at the diagram, where the camera is, there is maybe a foot space where the camera is not able to see where there is a door from the staff area. Okay?
Are you looking at, because I think it's hard to tell from this, are we looking at, is this diagram the top floor or the bottom floor? Jason, do you have any idea?
So it looks like Epstein. So I think Epstein's cell is on the top floor. Yeah. So the stairs would
be
the
upper floors, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking at where the staff area is. Okay. Mm-hmm. See the yellow triangle.
Yes.
And the red box where it's his cell. Okay. So there is one way out of the staff area, and it's right below the camera,
like underneath the floor, essentially, of where the camera is.
Yeah, on the floor. If the camera's up on a ceiling, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the camera's the camera is
from above,
from on the second floor, shooting down, and you can what the evidence that they're basically proclaiming here, and this is true. You know what Jason's saying is true, that you can't see the door of the Epstein cell. What you can see is a common area that, in theory, you would need to cross to get to the cell. What you're saying, Glenn, is the camera doesn't actually show 100% of the potential paths to get there, right?
It doesn't.
Like, you could if you cross right in front of the banister here on the bottom floor, there's no way you're going
to see.
Right.
Okay, so wait a minute. I just want to make sure. We are talking about the same thing. If you look at the videotape, it's the white room downstairs, right? So it's where the garbage can is down there.
Below
that. Epstein's room would be below the garbage can.
No, the Epstein's room, if you look out, the area that you can see, and I apologize for radio listeners here that aren't seeing this visual, but I want to make sure we get this right. There's an open area where the banister is like and it shows the common area behind it, right?
Okay.
If you go to the right side of the common area from our view, outside of the view to the right is where the entrance to the cell is, the stairs up to the cell.
So all you have to do, you don't have to cross the floor. Why do you have to cross the floor?
You could stay close to that wall.
You can go through the door. You can go through the door and see and just stay against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe, and Jason, maybe you know this, maybe it's explained somewhere else in the report, but like, is it possible that they're saying all the other entrances, like, to get to that area have cameras, and so they didn't see anybody walking into those areas? If that were true, of course you should release them.
Then why wouldn't you show the other?
Right.
This is not proof that anybody did anything.
No.
This is proof they are absent. Pam Bondi needs to be fired. Who is rolling this out? The little rascals? Panky, look, I got some videotape. What are you doing? This is ridiculous. This is such absolute incompetence. Incompetence.
It's incredible. The fact that they would release that, because I think everyone had the same assumption. I think even Jason, as a super duper skeptic on this, even you had the assumption that what they were saying was the green doors were the cells, or at least to the cell area.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
That's what everyone, I think, thought when they saw it. Now, to be clear, the report, as you point out, Jason, previously had stated and shown this diagram that shows that they're talking about the common area. So that's not but they should have been very clear about that. What we're talking about is the common area, right? They should have put that in the announcement.
Stu, we are going upstairs. We're going upstairs today.
Okay,
to my house. And, I have that balcony upstairs by the fireplace. You haven't really seen the house. You came in. Stu arrived here at midnight last night because it's like a day's journey from anywhere.
Right.
But we're going to go upstairs, and you put a camera, down into the great room.
You want to recreate the Epstein video in your house?
I do. And I want to show you. I can get to places in the room because there's a whole floor. The balcony shows part, but it doesn't show the door. I'll wait until I got to prove that we're going to do this live on YouTube or something on maybe on X today, as soon as we get off the air, because this is ridiculous.
It's unbelievable. Again, it doesn't prove that this he was killed. However, it is the fact that they're releasing a video that has this many holes in it to a passing. Again, the person you're trying to make feel better about all of this is someone very interested in the detail of it, right? It's not someone who has a passing interest. You're not releasing this to some person who kind of knows who Jeffrey Epstein is. This is intentionally designed to try to push down what you're arguing is a conspiracy theory.
You're also, and you know what? I'm not arguing anything. I'm arguing this is incompetence.
Yes.
I'm not arguing that he killed himself or he didn't kill him. I don't know. But this isn't helping. Not only are you saying, that these people have some interest in it. Well, these people are, interested in the details. No. You're releasing it to a bunch of people who many of them have the details, but many of them are hostile to what you're saying. So you better have a buttoned up case. You better not have anything that they find out later. Wait a minute. What?
Right. And it could be, you could make the couple of arguments that you probably could make here. One, they don't actually care about this and they're annoyed they have to deal with it, so they just threw it out there. Terrible incompetence, and if that's the truth, it's just inexcusable. The other thing they might argue, and this could be part of it, part of the rollout, there were reports at least that this got leaked, that this came out essentially earlier than they wanted it to come out. And so the rollout was not as well planned as they thought it was going to be. Axios reported this exclusively. Now, it's possible, right, that they leaked it to Axios, but it's not exactly a typical location of a Trump leak.
The Justice Department or the FBI? That's what I want to know. First of all, this administration has no leaks. We just bombed Iran without any leaks.
Yeah, different wing of the government. But still, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
They've been
right.
A lot of this has been tight, but there does seem to be, there's a lot of big personalities. There's always reported squabbling going on. Who knows how this was released and who did it? I mean, and that it may be true that part of the rollout was hurt, right, because it was released before they were ready or something. That might be true. It still doesn't really explain. I mean, the video's the video. They definitely posted it.
Yeah,
they posted it like that. They posted it. They had a memo that explained what the video was and did not mention any of that. Any of the issues we're talking about.
That's all you had to do. Hey, there's a 1-minute jump. Here's why it's there.
But again, even with that explanation, which would make me happier, right? That they were at least available.
Look, you're not.
It still wouldn't make you a person who believes in this theory.
Right. I can tell you I can tell you for a fact, nothing is going to satisfy everyone.
Right.
Okay. But you at least have to try to make the easy things go away. All right. Back in just a second. Let me talk to you about leaf filter. You know, far down the road, I planned on leaving the trusty old gutter cleaning ladder to my son, so he could do it someday. And he could, that's the kind of guy I am. You know, he could carry on the proud Beck family tradition of hospital visits and crippling fear of heights. You know, it's a family heirloom, really, it is. Then I found out about leaf filter. They install a stainless steel micro mesh system that attaches right to your existing gutters and blocks absolutely everything. The leaves, the pine needles, the roof grid, the bird nest, the discarded frisbees that still are there somehow or another. You name it, water flows through. The debris stays out of your gutters, and you never, ever, ever have to climb the ladder again. Wow. Our kids aren't going to know what hard work is. Don't spend your summer worrying about gutters. Schedule your free inspection and get up to 30% off your entire purchase at leaffilter.com/glennbeck. That's leaffilter.com/glennbeck. Get a free estimate, free inspection, and 30% off at leaffilter, leaffilter.com/glennbeck. See a representative for warranty details.
You ever seen a liberal's hands? Smoother than a snake on oil. Guess they're more worried about the meaning of the word female than the word work. Glenn Beck will be right back.
You're going to be shocked to hear that losing weight may be not the easiest thing in the world. And no matter what the magazines or late night ads try to tell you, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes willpower. And even, honestly, the results can feel then slow or non-existent. You try one thing, then another, and then you're left wondering if it's just you. But it's not. I mean, the truth is your body sometimes needs a little help to get where you want to be. And that's where a smarter, better supported approach to weight loss can make all the difference. Lean might be exactly what you're searching for. It's been carefully formulated by doctors to support healthy blood sugar levels, manage your appetite, and keep those pesky cravings in check. Specialized ingredients that work naturally to help your body burn fat by converting it into energy and making weight loss straightforward and effective. One key natural ingredient in lean is from an edible cactus from India. For centuries, this cactus apparently has been valued for its ability to naturally curb your appetite, helping you feel satisfied with your food intake for longer.
You think it's the needles? Then they get stuck in your throat?
That's a good question. That would make you not want to eat, I suppose. Doctors chose this cactus along with other potent natural ingredients to craft a smarter, healthier approach to weight management. Lean isn't complicated. It's a simple, practical way to take control of your weight and start seeing real results. So give it a shot. Let's get you started with 20% off. Use the code BLAZE20 at takelean.com. The code is BLAZE20 at take.
Welcome to the Glenn Beck Program. We're glad you're here. So, Jason, here's another problem here. Apparently, and we knew this, there were some cameras that weren't working. How many weren't working?
1, 2,
that
3.
all had views of the cell.
4 additional cameras were not recording that would have given us more context. 4, Glenn.
But only 4.
That's only
4.
Unreal.
Yeah.
You say unbelievable, and it's like actually the word unbelievable applies. It's not. It's impossible to believe. You really can't. It's the actual.
No, apparently Pam Bondi and her PR crew believe it.
This is Glenn Beck.